All right, take a deep breath, everyone, because this is Sunday morning, October 30th. And this is can you believe this? This is our 50th Sunday morning Zoom support call for psychiatricsobriety.com. And this is my 5-minute introduction, and I'm completely exhausted this morning because I'm in a monastery and I'm doing like 10 different things at once, and I'm supposed to be undoing my doer while I do everything. This is how we wake up, folks. This is how we emerge from psych meds and benzodiazepines. We completely, emerge from the cocoon. And, people ask, what has to change in your life? And no, they don't ask, but maybe they should be asking. What has to change in order to emerge from psych meds and benzodiazepines? Everything! But if we take this seriously, we're going to go straight back into our caterpillar. So I'm just going to laugh my way through the next hour. All right. So what we've been doing for the last year is we've been assembling at 9 a.m. on Sunday mornings and 5 p.m. on Wednesday evening Pacific time. And we've just been going through whatever needs to be discussed and brought to the table to emerge from this allopathic model of psychiatry. And a lot of us have, by the time we get here, a lot of us have already been on psych meds and benzodiazepines. So we support each other. We do what it takes, basically, in other words. This is my 5-minute introduction. This is my face. Look at me. I smile. I can smile even though it hurts. I'm not saying you're going to come out of psych meds and benzodiazepines and not still be in pain. What I'm saying is that we can laugh and we can still have joy and pain at the same time. That's important because, pain is inevitable, but suffering's optional. And here is how I did mine. Okay. Folks, you need to know this about me. I'm not a psychiatrist. I'm not a psychologist. I'm not even a credentialed minister, but I am a miracle. That's what you want. You want a miracle, because I spent 25 years of my life lost in, that allopathic belief that, you could fix my brain chemistry with pharmaceuticals. And the pharmaceuticals ended up causing more problems than they ever were able to solve. So I had to get off of absolutely everything. And that includes benzodiazepines. Okay. So now that I'm completely emerged, when I say emerged, you got to understand, it doesn't mean my life doesn't have pain. It doesn't mean my life is unicorns and rainbows. It means I have purpose. It means I have love. It means I have light, but you can have light and pain. All right. And I want to make this clear, because a lot of people come in here thinking we can take their pain away. What we can do is we can shift the perception. We can reframe it. We can give you the courage and the strength and the faith to keep going through what needs to be alchemized. That's called a wounded healer. All right, so it's going on about 3 minutes, folks. I've given you as many disclaimers as I can. We can't give you any medical advice here, and we don't have any medical advice, and it would be reckless for us to think we have any. We're not here to judge psychiatry, saying there's anything wrong with the old model. We're here to offer a new model. Not a new model. I mean, this is an ancient wisdom teaching, but since I was 25 years psych meds and benzodiazepines and addictions and trauma, listen, folks, if you got trauma and you need to bring it into this room, we'll create the space for you. All this, we do what needs to be done. Looks like we got 4 on board. So let's see who our participants are. Greg, Watson, and Jody. So it's my 4-minute introduction. It's a ministry. Say this every single time. Because it takes a lot of work. And one of the ingredients is the work has to be in alignment with spirit. Choose the higher power of your own understanding. But we're going to be looking at a lot of painful stuff, in the next hour. And we can't look at it with the egoic mind. Okay, that's how I got caught in the spider web, loop-de-loop, merry-go-round of psychiatry, thinking I could fix it with the mind that created it. We're gonna anchor the new mind. I put my hand on my heart. Well, actually, the heart's over here. So we can look at it from spirit's perspective. This is not based entirely on psychology. Psychology is great, but psychology has to have the underpinning of spirit in order to emerge from the caterpillar to the butterfly. This is not a withdrawal. This is a pharmacologically induced dark night of the soul. Ministry, not religious. the healer's prayer. This is how we start every meeting. We are here only to be truly helpful. And we are here to represent him or her who sent us. We do not have to worry about what to say or what to do, because he or she who sent us will direct us. We are content to be wherever he or she wishes, knowing that he or she goes there with us. And we will be healed as we let him or her teach us how to heal. It's going to look different for each person, okay? But the basic guidelines that I've just expressed are generally the format that healing embodies, okay? That's my story. I'm sticking to it. This went on for 6 minutes. Let's open up the gallery view. Good morning, Greg. Good morning, Jody. Good morning, Watson. Share your wisdom and your strength for YouTube. Hi. I can smile and still be completely frustrated, but the frustration is coming because I'll tell you what's going on. I'm here to live in Miracles Monastery, and the schedule changed. I got to drive to Cincinnati, Ohio tomorrow morning. They're saying, oh, well, in order to leave, you got to do this, you got to do this, you got to do this, you got to do this. And all of a sudden, my victim came back. My victim came back. You want me to do all? And I stopped and I said, wait a minute. I have authorship over the way I'm perceiving this, Kenneth. So this is I'll share with you what my morning, but I'll tell you that, folks, I would give the trauma of this day is 100 light years beyond the trauma of 10 years ago when I was still on that junk, when I was still trying to come off that junk. I would have paid $1 million for these problems 10 years ago. So I can smile and laugh now. We can start laughing. But wherever you are, I've talked for 7 minutes, and I don't like to monopolize the conversation. Hi again. It's your Zoom call. Go. Oh yeah, how are you, Watson?
Picking on me again, I see. That's okay. That's quite all right. No, I'm here. I'm glad to be here, and things are moving along at a snail's pace, but they're moving. And I'm keeping the light shining.
What we perceive to be a snail pace on this side of the veil is on the other side of the veil, they know that's, since this is the only work that a human really needs to do. They I'm not correcting you. I'm just jumping on a topic I love. If I correct you, then smack me.
No, go for it. Finish that thought. On the other,
David has a small pamphlet. I don't have it in the room here. A lot of the other members of the community does. He calls it "Purpose is the Only Choice." I didn't understand that at first. What's my purpose in life? Well, I gotta, obviously, I gotta, in order to be somebody, I gotta go to college, and then I gotta get a degree, and I gotta earn money, and then I gotta, get a mortgage, and then I gotta get a car, and I gotta, psych meds and benzodiazepines. Truly, this for all of us is a reset. Who are we, and why are we here? And this is completely bucking, the society that tells us, well, school system will tell you who you are and why you. Religions will tell you. I'm not going to touch religions, but society says, of course we know who you are and why you. You're Kenneth Price. You're 55 years old, and you're here in order to. No. That's the model that got us into this. I love that we're here to rethink it. This is truly, people call it a spiritual path. I get caught in my doer every day. Look at me here at the monastery. I gotta service the hot water heaters. I gotta turn the electricity back on. I gotta get it on time for dinner. I have to stop and pause every single day. Why am I? Why? Reconnection. If I I interrupted you, Watson.
No, not at all. Not at all. Not at all, Kenneth. I'm just I'm in sort of a whirlwind with ego, and it's challenging, but then I catch myself and step back and try to see the bigger picture, try to see who and what I really am. And it's a challenge it's a big time challenge, and especially when my tolerance symptoms are inching up ever more so every day, and I've got to make some decisions here moving forward. So, but it's good. It is good. I can sit back and on what I've learned in this group and from the work that I've done, and it's catching on. It's ever so gradually catching on that I'm all I need, and that I'm not truly broken. And what, like you so eloquently say, what is broken is not actually me, but the ego. And I've kind of lost my train of thought there, so I'm going to let you jump back in and let someone else take over. I'm running on very little sleep again, so that's a big problem.
There are times in the days that I have to just do halt. You know, I've told them I've gotten better at it, to tell the community members here, no, I need a nap. No more. You know, and you know, I do want to bring up a topic, and Jody, you know, helped me with it in the group chat. You know, kind of, this is a very, you know, I come in here with some very high level teachings, and all of us love these teachings, you know. But for people who are just starting to come off their meds, this can be a bit much, and I'm aware this a bit much. You know, coming in here talking about Course in Miracles, metaphysics, and some people might not even be able to get out of bed. Truly, I don't have an answer. I can't. You know, I've tried, you know, taking outreach calls and, you know, being, you know, kind and gentle and supportive, but I realize that's just not my archetype. You know, if I'm guided to, perhaps, but I put that out there in the group chat. I got tremendous support. You know, most people said, just, you know, keep going with the message. But I think what I did come out and say is, you know, you've not been damaged by psych meds and benzodiazepines, which is just way over the top for someone who's might not be able to get out of bed, you know, and is gonna about call 911. I don't have an answer, but maybe that might be a topic for discussion. Tina, it's good to have you back. I've missed you. How are you? You want to mute yourself? You down there?
Tina's not talking today. She left a message in the chat that she's not able to speak.
All right. How about you, Jody? You want to speak to that?
I sure would love to speak to that. You know, because I said what I said, and I mean what I said, but of course, there's so much more to say than what I just said there. Yeah, and you know, what I didn't say that I would like to say here on that chat is there's so many paths for people to choose from. And what Kenneth is offering is one path. He's one man who's taken all that he's learned and he's sharing that. He's sharing his light. He's sharing the way. And that's great. And it's going to work for a lot of people. Like, look at all of the people who have come into this group and received so many great things. The people who show up here live, the great people who watch the archives. So it's working for a lot of people, and that's beautiful. Is it going to work for everybody? No. Because we're all so different. We're all very similar, but we're also different. So I've said this here before, I love the diversity of this community that Kenneth has created here. I'm different than Kenneth. Greg is different than Kenneth. Watson is different than Kenneth. Tina is different than Kenneth. Hopefully we're all going to learn what we learned here and then go out and help others. I think that's a big part of this journey that we're on, to heal ourselves and then to share that with others, because there's so many people out there who need our help. Now, again, Kenneth is doing what Kenneth does beautifully. Is it going to resonate with everybody? No. So can Watson perhaps go out and share more? based on what he's learned? Absolutely. Is that going to be a fit for everybody? No. And that's beautiful. Greg, same thing. Me, same thing. Tina, same thing. We're all learning what we can from where we are, our experiences. We all have different teachers, and then we go out and we share that. So what Kenneth is doing here is beautiful.
Thanks, Jody. There's a word here at this community. The Course in Miracles works at the level of thinking, and you call it reframing, they call it perception. You know, I've said it before. Look at me, equals perception, or Holy Spirit's perception. And I just lost my train of thought. Oh no, I didn't. They actually have they call them doubt thoughts, and then they say, oh well, that's coming from the ego. Doubt thoughts come from the ego. It's taken me a long time to even integrate that, because when you're coming from the perception of spirit flows, and it's either a yes or a no, and there's not a second thought. The ego wants to analyze, critique. And by the way, I have 10 years of university training, a bachelor's in finance and a master's degree in architecture. Who knows how much money I spent on those degrees to hone my critical thinking, to hone my analytical skills, to hone my, and guess what? No fault or no blame, but I was on psych meds and benzodiazepines for those two, you know, for at least the second, you know, college degree. Valium, just take Valium, you know, before, you know, giving my, you know, presenting my architectural projects to the staff. One of the things that's difficult about this community is people come in here and they think they're going to have to sacrifice their careers, you know, because obviously those careers required psych meds and benzodiazepines. They didn't require, but my story. I want to share this with the archives. This is important. I want to share it with all of you too. When I had to go through my reset, all the tools went into storage. When I had to go through the reset, or obviously, you know, I wasn't able to work for an architectural firm. I wasn't able to capture the architectural license. I was not able to do any drafting for years and years. I wasn't even able to pick up a pen and do any artwork. I literally, inside of my cocoon, had to put all of that on hold. Spirit said, no construction, no design, no drafting, no artwork. Spirit says, I called it depressed. Spirit had a different word for it. Spirit called it deep rest. I had to go inside of this cocoon, and I had to get still. I'm putting this in simplistic terms. No, actually, I didn't get still. I fought and scraped my way through it. But let me share with this for the archives. 55 years old now. You know, my last psych med was almost 6 years ago. And the teacher of this community, David Hoffmeister, gave me a call. And he said, can you come to Cincinnati and can you remodel our peace house? Why I want this documented is that obviously my brain was not damaged by psych meds and benzodiazepines. All of it came back. My drafting came back. My artwork came back. My construction skills came back. And by the way, I'm credentialed in every single one of the trades. Now it's in purpose to spirit. Spirit said, I'll give you all that back. And you're going to go drive to Cincinnati. And by the way, I'm at the monastery now. I'm doing the same work here for the Living Miracles community in Duchesne. You can have all that back, Kenneth. It's going to be in service to spirit now. It's a beautiful thing, folks. What I'm trying to say is that, you know, all of the stuff that we think is taken away from us, don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. That's why I've said in so many of these lectures, put it on the library shelf. Don't throw it away. Put it on the library shelf and wait and trust. I see Watson up there is a retired pharmacist, and I know he's a bright guy. He's not going to throw that knowledge of pharmacology away. It's on the shelf. This is why I actually get excited. What is Spirit going to do with Watson's knowledge of pharmacology? Tina down there, Greg up there, you've all got skills and abilities that are probably being put, on the shelf right now as we go through go through the dark night of the soul, pharmacologically induced dark night of the soul. This is why this ministry excites me. I want to see, I know what spirit is doing in my life. I want to see what spirit's going to do in other people's life. Basically, in a nutshell, my teacher says, he says it to me, and I have to remind this. I should put a post-it on my forehead. The spirit will use everything the ego made. It's not a carte blanche, because a lot of my, architectural degree did come from spirit, but basically in a nutshell, Control, Alt, Delete, and let's put it in use of spirit. There, got that archived. Truly, it's a miracle when spirit begins to use. This is some of the language they use here at the monastery. Why it's so frustrating? They say you're not doing, you're being done through. And they use words like flow, and Watson's used it before, and I know Jody. We let's see, what's the word? Flow. In the flow, yeah, that's it. When we're in the flow, when we're trying to work to procure the old model of supply and demand and scarcity. There's no flow in the old model, and that's why all these people that have called me have bitten in, taken like I did. I wanted to see in my parable, no victim. I wanted to see what it felt like. I wanted to see what it felt like to be in the capitalistic model of supply and demand, scarcity, fear, and lack. I wanted to, and now the data is in. I've been in that model, and I now can. Anchor this ministry, to say, not to judge that model, but to offer and extend this new model. And that's why it has to be a ministry, folks, because there's got to be a spiritual component to this model. It has to be, because I can't explain where all of I can't explain who's in control of my life right now. I simply can't. I can't explain the miracles. I can't explain the hairbands. I can't explain the synchronistic numbers, and I can't explain all the reflections. Other than there's got to be a guiding hand beyond the five senses. That's driving this car, Tina. Driving this car. Jody, Tina says get in the driver's seat. Jody says get in the driver's seat. Tina says get in the driver's seat. I say get in the passenger seat. Remember, maybe that's the new motto. Just get in the car. Just keep going. Don't quit 5 minutes before the miracle. And yeah, Watson, I know. Inside of the cocoon, I couldn't hear this. I couldn't take it in as well, but I was willing. And that's why I said to you on Wednesday, the biblical phrase, the faith of a mustard seed. That's all it takes. Folks, keep going. The more, and you're right, Jody, butterflies, don't go back to their, I don't know, maybe butterflies probably don't go back to working 9 to 5, corporate jobs, but there was nothing lost in working a 9 to 5 corporate job. Nothing lost. Spirit takes everything, nothing. So I learned in my near-death experience. I said, Spirit says, we're going to use absolutely everything. But the crux was, Spirit said, you got to turn your life over to Spirit says, you gotta let me drive from here on forward. No, I don't want it. Spirit says, give me the steering wheel. No, give me the steering wheel. I still, that's the old adage. Turn it over, take it back. Turn it over, take it back. That's the path out of the hopelessness. And that's the path out of the suffering. It was my path out of my hopelessness, and it was my path out of my suffering. And I'll be goddamned, it works. I want to live now. I mean, honestly, I mean, we've talked about suicide many times in these calls, so I'm not afraid to go in that direction. All of us here have thought about it, and so if that's all right. I'm just going to come out and say it, And if you want further teachings, go follow David Hoffmeister, because he can explain it 100 times better than me. But basically, in a nutshell, he said, if you get down to it, the ego wants us dead. Now that's again, I said, very high level teaching, but that's not just, we can't just throw the ego out. We got to just start looking at it with spirit, looking at it with a loving, mighty companion, looking at it with Jody's turn. Go.
Wait a second. The ego is my persona, the personality that I've created to navigate this plane. Is that not correct?
Of course, that's correct.
Okay, so why would my ego want me dead? So
Oh,
hold on. See, I wanna learn more, because it's my understanding that my ego wants to keep me safe. And so that's the opposite of my ego wants me dead.
I'm so glad you challenged me on this.
I just want to
Because-
understand. I just want to understand deeper.
Oh, what a beautiful question. That question could not be more appropriate for this Zoom call. I'm almost feeling to answer that question, it would be the responsibility of my teacher to clarify it. Which is the reason I have to listen to him all day long, to hear the nuances, to hear, because he's a no compromise teacher. But he I don't know. I'm sorry, Jody. I don't have an answer, but can I wait and come back, because that's a valuable question.
Please do. Yeah. Yeah.
The question you asked me was, the ego is here to keep us safe.
Yeah, I thought, because I've had a few different teachers, and it's become my understanding for hearing all of them that my ego wants to keep me, my ego wants to keep me safe.
Safe from
Harm. Because it wants to keep me alive.
Okay, so now I'm
It's
going to go
true,
real
I
deep.
think, yeah.
It's fair question.
What was
Perfect.
that, Greg? We didn't actually hear that.
Yeah, I totally agree. I totally agree, Jody. It really does.
I'm a bit confused by that.
Safety is its
teaching.
main concern. I mean, it thrives on safety.
That's why it wants me to stay small, because it wants me to stay safe. That's my understanding. So I'm super curious, and you've said this before, Kenneth, and I tried to jump on it because I'm super curious, but you thought that it wasn't good for that conversation. I would love it if you could send me a link for a video, or just because I'm super curious about that particular understanding.
That's such a good question, Jody, and I'm so thrilled that we are going for the heart of the matter, which is what this basically is. Let's go all the way down to the root and work. I'm kind of tired of working at the level of the leaves. Let's go down to the core of the tree and see if we can pull this up. And
Everything else is a waste of time.
basically, you're right, Jody. I really
Got to go all the way down. Yeah.
Good, Jody. Thank you, because I don't have time, to waste at that would, if a skilled therapist would have the patience, but I'm as time goes on, I'll develop the patience to take a person down there slowly.
Sorry, go ahead. Sorry.
I think the question is about the ego. You're right, Jody. That's the root of this. It comes down to, who are we? And for thousands of years, people have been giving us lots of answers that have kept us in the squirrel cage. The ego is, here's what let me back up from David Hoffmeister's explanation, just give you my explanation. Go for his, but this is what I have to offer. All right. What I discovered in my own story, that my ego was you're right, it was based on self-preservation. It was a self-learning algorithm. It was artificial intelligence. And when I saw it as the self-learning algorithm, but it was based on self-preservation of the body only. That's all it wanted, was to preserve the body. Now I was taught by David, who am I? Am I the body or am I the mind of God? This is the crux. Who are we? Are we a mind or a body? Now when we think of mind, people keep thinking the brain. It goes straight to the brain, which is where we've been conditioned. This is what it finally dawned on me. He calls it the Christ mind. Now I'm careful to use that word because everyone goes, oh, Christians, Jesus died on this cross. Stop. In each one of us, we are connected to an infinite mind. So I'll use infinite mind. Mind is not the brain. So the brain is the ego. Then there's a mind. Is that helpful? Is that making some clarification? Because this brain is what we've been trying to tinker with all those chemicals, and it just made us, it got sick. But what slowly, the mind of universal mind, Christ mind. Help me with some more words.
Well, I just call it the collective consciousness.
That is leading, the collective consciousness takes us in that collective consciousness. Okay.
You're distraught, Kenneth.
Remember, I'm a student with the rest of us. So I'm working at this every day. I just know that the closer I get to this mind, the more all this, I just have seen all these leaves wither and die from my illnesses. And once I saw it, I said, spirit said, I heard Marcia say, bingo, you got it. You hit the mark. That's where my purpose and priority is. That's why I've called this ministry Reconnection. David calls it the Christed mind. And again, I'm careful with the Christ, because Christ connotates, sacrificial savior, but maybe that might help some of the viewers. Listen, you know why I'm going in circles? Because I'm trying to describe the indescribable. I'm trying to put words where there are no words. I'm pointing towards each person needs their own direct experience. And that's why it's so difficult in this ministry, because people are coming off psych meds and benzodiazepines, and I'm talking about a direct experience. Listen, that's why it's so difficult for me sometimes. I've immersed myself. I was, with my near-death experience, I was immersed in all that was for 5 minutes. I was completely, the ego was shattered. There was no Kenneth anymore. And I was completely free to be absolutely everything for 5 minutes. And then I said, okay, you're done. Go back into that body. No, put me back in that body and try and explain it to people. No. Listen, if you want a pointer, I would point to Anita Moorjani. She actually did have my near-death experience. My body never died. Mine was artificially induced by the shaman. If you want someone who actually explain it better, who's like much prettier than me, she's much prettier. Anita Moorjani actually did die from cancer. She had a physical body death. And she has spent her whole career after that, putting words in a beautiful message that far surpasses anything I can offer. And what I have to point out about Anita Moorjani is that she died from cancer. Her body was ready to go. She was withered. She had cancer everywhere. I don't know, she was down to like 75 pounds. When she popped out of her body, died physically, and got to the other side, and she saw the same thing I saw. We all see the same thing, which is, sorry, I can't put it into words. She saw who she was. She wasn't the body, and the body is the ego. She got to the other side and she saw it. She saw it. It was, folks, it was 100% love to the power of 10,000. That's the only thing that's true, is 100% love to the power of 10,000, and that's not even a grain of sand on the beach. And then she went back into her body, and now that she had seen it and felt it and she knew it, she was done with cancer. She didn't need it anymore. She didn't need it. I don't need my psychiatric parable. I don't need my withdrawals anymore. And one of the things I'm doing with this ministry is I'm offering tools, all right? One of the most delicate tools I have to, very careful I share it with are the entheogens. My shaman showed me that by giving me a flood dose of trust me, folks, I've gone so overboard on the disclaimer. So by now, I'm not telling anybody what they need to do, but I'm just sharing 3 years after my last psych med. That shaman gave me a flood dose of 5-MeO DMT, and he gave me a 5-minute lights out. He had 3 assistants there to hold spaces, 3 assistants who needed to climb on top of me. All right. So, but I'll be grateful for the rest of my life for that 5 minutes, folks. Puts me into tears. There's no reason I 25 years on psych meds and benzos, sex addiction, alcohol, cigarettes, opiates, morph. Is there any rhyme or reason that I should be here, smiling with an open heart, other than a miracle? Isn't that what we all want? Is a miracle? I can feel my heart today. I can love. I'm not, why it's painful, folks? My mother died and my father died in 2006 and my mother died in 2004. Before my heart had opened. So what do? I wake up every morning and I say, show me what my assignment is. And one of the miracles, the miracles are that Spirit says, we're going to give you, I couldn't love my own mother. Spirit said, that's fine. Your mother was a construct. We're going to send you other women who you can love.
Kenneth, you've got so much heart. You've got
folks,
so much heart, Kenneth.
Folks,
you really do.
The one heart that we all share together. This is Greg's heart. This is Watson's heart. This is Tina's heart. This is Jody's heart. I'm just reflecting what all of us are capable of. And in addition, thank goodness I was on all those meds so we can see, they may be foolproof, but they're not God proof.
But you're so real. You are so raw. I love you for it. I really do. Can I share something though?
It's your turn. I'm done talking.
Okay. I admire you too, Jody. I admire your ability to understand our togetherness and our separateness, because that's what I've been trying to do lately. I had an appointment with the homeopath a few days ago. It was a meeting that lasted 2 hours. And I've never felt so understood and seen. And the thing about homeopathy is that it doesn't address the body. It addresses the person. And she kind of got me. I'm going to write to you what, can I tell y'all what I needed to, I texted her, and she's going to give me a remedy. And it's not going to be as quick as a benzodiazepine. It's going to be deeper cleaning, and it's going to be real healing. It's going to take a little bit longer, but it's going to be deeper. Anyways, I wrote this last night. I'm learning that, I'm not going to learn anything all at once. I kind of try to, but I don't. But I wrote, Eureka, I just figured it out. I've been fixed. I've been so fixed and so corrected that I forgot what I was. I quit acknowledging who I am. The pills and the family and the culture, layers and layers and layers of band-aids, conformity and corrections. My spirit has become so subdued that I've been sick, physically, emotionally, and spiritually. I couldn't find any support in this crisis. No one group wanted to hear from the true me. Lately, I've been trying to please again. But today, after a week, I recognize the sick. It's codependency and more. Between the allopathic and the therapy of do this and don't do that, I forgot how to be free. I forgot how to be me. I had gotten tired of being analyzed and reduced, belittled, and ignored. To dissect is to murder, they say, and I damn near died. I lost connection with myself and others. I couldn't take it. Damn near suicidal at one point, but it was more than withdrawals. It was an anger symptom. But behind that symptom was reality. I couldn't do it anymore. Something had to change. So I needed to bleed without judgment. I needed to be raw without a question or apology. I needed space. That's why I was okay with being on the edge of society with the hookers and the homeless. I needed a place to feel the symptoms, even if it meant being alone or almost alone. And then I wrote, I have to learn to be with others without selling out or being codependent. I've been angry. I thought it was because of others weren't true to me, but it's because I'm not true to myself. So it's been raw. It's been, I've been fighting the comfort of the ego because I might be in danger. But I'm trying to have hope beyond the ego. But I'm figuring it out. There's a way. It's not a way of the ego. And I'm scared. But I think there's a way. I think it's going to come together. Probably in the next couple of months. And we'll get my answers. I just got to be brave and fight the ego, the safety of the ego. So, because I agree with Jody, it wants us safe, and I might not be safe, but ultimately I will. But it's been raw, and before I went to the homeopath, I needed a space just to be in pain. It's hard to describe, but I needed to be in pain. Then I decided that I wanted something, but it's just been real raw lately. But I think it's going to be okay. It's probably going to be more okay than it's ever been for me. But I want to tell the truth. And the truth, Kenneth, is I love you because you are so fucking real. And I'm so real right now. And I can admire that. I think you're still hurting. I think you're looking for something still, but I think you're okay. And I think Jody's got a lot of truth. Jody's got a lot of truth. Kind of a bigger truth. She's got balls. Jody's got courage. Jody's got energy, but I don't know. And Watson's got kindness, but I don't know. It's just been raw. It's been facing myself recently, just really facing myself. And it hurts. It hurts. And it hurts not to run to that safety. But I've been scared. I've been really scared. So it's a path. I guess I'm not going to get all the answers at once, but I think I will be turning a corner soon. Hopefully, maybe a little bit later than I want, but it gives you humility. So, anyways, that's all.
What do you mean that's all? Greg,
Oh, so beautiful.
Yeah, unbelievable.
Unbelievable. Yeah. And that's why I
Exactly.
record these. I want to document, I want to document miracles. In order to document miracles, remember I said it before, I'm a contractor. I like before and after pictures.
Mm-hmm.
So we can display them in a magazine, a color magazine, so the people will walk by and say, look what's possible. Greg, that's how it's done. Greg, I've been here at Living Miracles for years. They hold expression sessions. And if I got this on YouTube, then I can get some video editing software and show them how it's done. Because that's how we let it out. The feet, yeah, it hurts. And courageously, I'm at a loss for words. Who wants to touch on something as beautiful as that? It's Jody's turn.
This is it. This is the process. There's stepping stones. We have to go through each layer to get to the next one. And
Yeah.
Greg, you just displayed that so beautifully. And it reminds me, you know, Watson in the beginning said that it's painfully slow. He's going at that snail pace. We can't go quicker than we're able. We have to go, Greg has to go at Greg's pace. Greg has to touch on each of his stepping stones. I had to go at my pace, and I had to touch on each of my stepping stones. And some of them are very similar, but some of them are very different. And again, like, this is why I'm so grateful for this community. Greg is finding so much healing from his homeopathy path. I found so much healing from my path. It's totally different than Greg's path, but so similar at the same time. Same with Kenneth, same with Watson, same with Tina. This is why it takes a village to raise a child. It takes a village to heal, because we all bring our strengths to the table, and we all learn from each other, and we all lean on those strengths, and we need each other, and we all need that there's so many there's so many nuggets of what Greg just said, right? And Kenneth gives us nuggets all the time, and thank goodness for Raina coming in and giving us her nuggets, right? And Chris, and like, we all have them, and we all need to hear each other's stories and strengths and what's working. It's Greg, thank you so much for sharing that. That was so, and you know, and it started with Kenneth, right? Kenneth shared raw and open from his heart, and that gave Greg the courage and the permission to share from his heart. And that gave me the courage and the permission to share from my heart. Watson, your turn.
Wow, it's all so beautiful, and and everyone is exactly right. And what I mean by that is that there is no one path fits all. Everybody has his own journey to take to whatever it is that you want to achieve. And I think honestly, we all want to achieve our highest levels. And is that ever going to be possible? Sure, eventually. Today, tomorrow, probably not, but it'll eventually come. And I'm not in any way, shape, or form thinking about giving up. I'm actually, I get excited. I don't look like I get excited, I'm sure, but I do get excited about the potential that I have. And with this community, and with all the concepts, ideas, and information that I'm gleaning, it really is amazing. And I really dislike missing these meetings, because I feel like I've missed an entire part of my week or day, for instance. And I just feel so much better. Now, one thing that just popped into my mind, I don't know why, but I've been practicing more of I don't know if it's gainful listening or just to become a better listener. And I'm 60, and I've been trying off and on to do that my entire adult life, but I'm at the point now where being a good listener and just not responding, not just or responding with questions like, and then what? Or keep going, or you're on a roll, keep it going, or something like that. It's not necessarily just for me, but it's for that other person as well. And I'm surrounded by people in my community that seem to have major problems, and I'm reframing my own way of not teaching, but allowing others to answer their own questions. You know,
Mhm.
if they have an issue and they want to talk about it, then I'm going to listen and not interject anymore unless they ask me to, or if they come to a pause, then I'll ask them more questions. It's a complete about face for what I've done my whole life, and it's a process for sure. Jody said the stepping stones, and I'm on stone number 2 or 3 out of millions, perhaps, but that's okay because I know that I'm going to get there. And Greg, you're going to get there. Tina, Kenneth, by all means, Jody, you're all amazing, and I'm just grateful for the community. And wow, it's all love. It's all love, and we're all love.
Watson.
We are all love, and we're all one with that love. And a lot of times that escapes me. I don't know if the ego is my safe haven necessarily, but I get mixed reviews from my spirit about that. So I'm still trying to untangle what that actually means for me. But then again, I don't think that means the same thing for everybody. I think everybody has a different understanding of what that is. And it's a difficult thing to put your finger on. But as long as we just keep doing the work, kaboom, light bulbs will go off. And they have been, the small twinkling little tiny light bulbs you see on a Christmas tree for me. Not the really big ones, but not the big lighted star on top, but the little tiny twinkling lights. A million lights are starting to gradually tick on, and that's the way I imagine my journey for now, anyway. So,
You know,
you are a good listener, Watson, by the way. You do hold space as well.
Thank you.
Have you ever heard of popular education? It might help you a little bit, but it's called people's education. It's have y'all heard of Paulo Freire, Miles Horton? Those people. It's a little more intellectual, but it's for social movements and things. But it's a space where people come together and they discuss the demands of practice and theory and try to replace it with something more practical and real. It's like where people come together. I used to try to organize it, but it's really just where people come together to develop ideas about society and how to function better with it. It's a little different, but anyways.
The light that you described, Watson, as you were sharing with us, I saw a vision of a match. Oh, it's just a little light. It's just a little light. And you're talking, and I'm saying, take that match and put it onto some combustible materials, and let's see if this bonfire cannot become. That's what I saw.
Yeah.
That light's the only thing that's real.
Yeah, that's really part of my vision as well. And for some reason, the Christmas tree just that connotes my non-existent past, but it really that really hit home for me. So, but the bonfire, that's a great one too, for tiny match fire to a roaring flame. That's what we're meant to be, I believe.
That's what I was shown in the near-death experience. I said, this puny, and they stopped me right there. They said, do not call this puny. And that's when they showed that it was just the opposite of how I was perceiving it from the egos. The ego says, trust me, then we got this little voice in our head that's saying, it's only a little match. It's only a little match. No. I mean, if it has the power to, well, you're a Christian, heal the sick and raise the dead. There was somebody else 2,000 years ago who knew that it wasn't just a little match. It's the power of, when Anita Morijani came back from the death, she just said, I'm done with cancer, I'm done. Really, our minds are that powerful. And I know Jody can speak to that. We don't have much time. I only got about 5 more minutes for the recording itself. It's the power of the mind. That's what I've said before. When I was done with those psych meds, it wasn't because I was done. It was more that I stopped believing they were working anymore. I said, they're not, it's belief. And we've talked about this, so many times, and over, 83 Zoom calls, we brought up Joe Dispenza, the power of belief, tools. And that's what my teacher keeps saying. He says it differently. He says, he doesn't tell us to heal. He doesn't tell us to fix. He doesn't tell us to chase after the light. He doesn't do any of that. He says, just unbelieve in and I'm not saying to try and fix or heal the ego. My teacher says it better. He says, just unbelieve it. And notice. Because he's bathed himself in the same great rays that, that shaman threw me into. Because he sees it as unreal.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
That's my work. That's what my work looks like. All day long is I have to unbelieve. Anyway, that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. For the YouTube archive, do you guys want to add any more? I'm about ready to wrap that up. The YouTube archive, at least.
I think that's a really good place to leave it off, Kenneth. And I'd just like to say that again. A huge part of the healing journey is unlearning, unbelieving all of the BS, all of our belief systems. I can't remember what teacher I have that says that BS, they're belief systems. As adults, we can choose what we keep and what we let go of.
Right.
It's an amusement park. It's fun. It's an amusement park. We've all ridden on the scary rides. We've ridden on the soft rides. We've gotten the cotton candy. We've gotten the Diet Cokes. Folks, it's time to go home. We've ridden all the rides, and nothing wrong with that. I mean, let's ride the benzodiazepine ride. The mechanical monster in the fun house. Yeah, for us it was 100% real. I don't know about you folks, but I'm ready to go home. Now the good part is, look at this 55-year-old body. Give it about 30, maybe even if I can, now that I quit smoking, I can probably push another 35, 40 years out of this body. Who's driving it now? That's it. All right, folks, this is Sunday, October 30th. This is Kenneth Price, Jody, Greg, and Watson, and Tina for our 50th Sunday morning Zoom call for psychiatricsobriety.com. I couldn't be more thrilled when 2 or more are gathered. And this is for the YouTube archive. Leave your comments below. We do this at 9 a.m. on Sunday morning Pacific time and 5 p.m. on Wednesday evening Pacific time. May the force be with you, and God bless. Have a great week.